Hi, and welcome to Biteable Live, now no longer on mute like the start was just then. So sorry about that. Simple things and you forget them straight away. So today, first repeat guest is Paul. So welcome back again, Paul.
Thanks for having me back, Jared.
It's one of the services I provide to our guests is by making a terrible mistake like forgetting to unmute my microphone right at the start or mispronouncing names. And that just makes you feel better. So I've done that. So from now on, it's going to be clean sailing. So thanks for joining everyone who's online, watching this live. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. As I say every week, it's a live show. So the best thing you can do is engage on the live chat. So if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to drop it in the comments below or off to the side, depending on how you've got your layout set up on Facebook. We do read them throughout the show, and we'd love to engage with you. So if you don't have a question, just let us know what city you're in, what country you're in. We'll give you a little bit of a shout out. And if nothing else, a little emoticon heart makes us feel like we're doing the right thing by you. So today's session is all about Facebook cover videos. This was a request from either the last or the show before, where we were talking about different things we were working on with Biteable, and cover videos was a request. So we decided, let's do a whole show around Facebook cover videos. So Paul's agreed to come back in, and we're going to run through the what, the how, the whys, and all the best examples of cover videos for you in today's show. So enough from me, I guess, to get things started in simple terms. Paul, what is a Facebook cover video?
Yeah, good question. Your cover video is basically a small video that can play at the top of your Facebook page. So in the past, it was possible. I mean, you may remember if you're old enough, there was a point in time when you could only have a small profile photo on Facebook, and then they brought in a cover photo, which you could put at the top of your page to add a bit more character and personality. And then I think for roughly a year or a little bit longer, it's been possible to put a video up there, and that's your Facebook cover video.
Yeah, I was just reading before that it was in August last year that Facebook started to roll it out. So it's funny how a year in social media land feels like a lifetime, and now this is just standard practice. And it's something I guess we see a lot of Biteable is it's a standard use case for Biteable is people who want to make a Facebook cover video. So Facebook has that kind of audience. It's one of those things you need to do. So, but other than really, other than Facebook saying you should have one, I mean, I guess from a business point of view, why do you think businesses should actually have a Facebook cover video? What's the benefit to their business?
Yeah, I can see why everyone would ask that question. I guess those who market professionally on Facebook, they'll know that organic reach is dropping and that it's paid advertising nearly for everything that you want to actually reach an audience with. And so then you may say, oh, okay, who's actually going to look at my Facebook cover? I guess the argument for having one is that when someone makes a first contact with your brand on Facebook, there's a good chance they'll come back to your page just to have a look about who you are, discover a little bit more about you. And then when they do, your Facebook video or cover video is obviously going to be their first touch point with your brand and the first impression you can make. So it's a really good opportunity to either present your brand, present a promotion, or present a campaign you might have running at the time. It's just a really good opportunity to catch their attention.
I guess that's the thing with Facebook is, as a business, it's quite static. I mean, Facebook pages all look relatively the same. There's a couple of elements you can move. So, as a business, you might have invested $10, $50, $100,000 on a website, but your Facebook is really hard to make your Facebook page look quality, I guess. So the video is one of the few chances you get to actually show off.
Yeah, it's pretty valuable real estate. I mean, I guess Facebook is almost like a lot of little windows into your brand, or little windows into the things that you want to share and promote. Your cover video is probably the biggest window that you get access to on Facebook in one time anyway, until someone actually opens your content.
Yeah, and I guess from a user's point of view, or a customer or potential customer's point of view, it's often their first interaction on social media for you. They often go, for example, you might include links from your website through to your Facebook page, or in your email through to your Facebook page, and it's going to be that main Facebook page with a cover video at the top is going to be the first experience they get of your social media. So I guess start with how you mean to go on and represent the quality. More likely to get that page like. I know page likes now aren't the be all and end all, but it is still permission to remarket to somebody.
Yeah, it still gives a bit of social proof and confidence as well for a new visitor if you do have enough followers up there. If it's empty, then you're not going to inspire too many people, I don't think.
Exactly. Just going to say hi to Pauline from Melbourne. Nice to
Pauline.
Always good to be joined by fellow Australians, often dictated by our time zones when we decide to get up or stay up until. So welcome to the show, Pauline. If you've got a Facebook cover video you'd like us to show off, please feel free to drop it in the comments there and we'll take a look. So today's show, what we're going to do is spend a bit of time really looking at what we think are good examples of Facebook cover videos and doing all that. But before we get into it, I think it's important to sort of, I guess, cover off some basic specs and requirements, because Facebook is, I mean, they control their own marketplace, so it's not like their video specs are standard. So I think it probably makes sense just to run through quickly, you know, what you need to produce in terms of a Facebook cover video to get Facebook to actually host it.
Yeah, so I guess that's over to me to run you by some specs. So what Facebook actually recommends is 820 by 462 pixels, if that means much to most people. And you can actually
Facebook isn't standard. It means they've made up their own dimensions.
Pretty much, yeah. It's essentially, that's, I mean, you've probably seen this. Everyone's seen this 1,000 times when they visited Facebook. They know how big a Facebook cover video is. Some of the, I guess, the most important parameter to keep in mind is the length of your video. So when these were first introduced, there was a maximum of 20 seconds per Facebook cover video, and they've stretched that out now, and you have to have a minimum of 20 seconds through to a maximum of 90 seconds. So you have a bit more space to play with, let's say. The size, I don't think anyone's going to have any problems with this, but there's a max of 1.75 gig. So you've got to keep that in mind while you're uploading, or you might get a frustrating error message. And the other thing to bear in mind is that these are muted by default. So when they play, there's no sound. So when you make a video, you've got to keep in mind that people are going to be watching it without the audio. Yeah,
I don't think it's unlikely to be audio, and then even subtitles don't really fit so much with the theme of a cover video. I think it needs to be visual and it needs to stand in its own right. You can't kind of rely on subtitles or a voiceover to justify what's happening on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably something we'll get into later as well, but you probably want to limit how much of a story you're telling through your cover video as well. It's less of an explainer and more of a space where you can catch people's attention and you can impart a mood or a feeling or introduce them to something, but keep it relatively simple.
Yeah, and they loop, don't they? I think Facebook cover videos loop, so when you get to the end, it's worth considering that it'll go right back to the start and just keep playing. So, you know, while it's not critical, it is nice to be aware of the fact that it doesn't just stop and freeze on that last window.
Yeah, you're right. When you're making it, you want to keep in mind that it's not really a linear thing. So you don't really want to have a hard end. You want to be able to go back to the start without really interrupting the flow of your video.
Fantastic. Brilliant. All right, well, I think that covers the specs. So I think it's probably good. Let's jump in and start looking at some examples that we think are quality cover videos.
Well, maybe also, actually, while we're talking about specs, I'll just add in, so I mentioned the number of pixels before, which is pretty abstract, but an easy way to visualize the size of one of these videos is the standard Biteable video, or the standard size for sort of horizontal video is 16 by 9. And if you reduce a 16 by 9 and make it sort of 75, so if you take off 25% in the vertical, that's what you'll be left with for a Facebook cover video. So it's basically 75% in the vertical of a 16 by 9. And I guess it's also known as a letterbox view.
Yeah, that's what I was going to think. It's that visual of the letterbox. You don't get to look at the top and the bottom, so just sort of focus in that middle bit. And look, in looking at different Facebook cover videos today, you can see that most companies still film their cover videos in the standard 16 by 9 format, and then they just crop that within Facebook to the appropriate size.
Yeah, exactly. I thought maybe a nice place to start is I can show you the one that we have on our Facebook page at the moment. Yeah, and I can show you how it works to realign that and what you'll need to keep in mind when you're making your video in 16 by 9. It gives you a good visualization of how much you'll lose. Awesome. I'll just share my screen with you now, Jared.
Brilliant.
And everybody else who's watching.
Yeah.
So this is what you're looking at now is the Biteable Facebook page. And we have a little animated video running up the top of our page. I'll just reposition that to give you an idea. So this is what you're seeing at the moment, and I'll just slide that down, and you can see that you'll lose about 12% off the top, and then slide it back up, and you're going to lose about 12% off the bottom. So when you're putting it in there, Facebook understands you're probably going to put a 16 by 9 video in, and it's possible to reposition it. Just keep in mind you're going to lose the top and the bottom when you actually put it in there.
Yeah, that's quite easy. I mean, it's good. At least Facebook made the effort so you can adjust it in their app. Like, it's not, you don't have to do it in some other kind of video editor. So
yeah, exactly.
They may be arrogant enough to make their own video sizes, but at least they're considerate enough to allow you to modify it on the fly.
Yes, yes, it's quite sweet of them. Should we, so now we've been through that, should we run through some examples?
Yeah, let's please do.
So I guess there's a lot of different things you can try to achieve with your Facebook cover video, and a lot of different styles I guess you could use, from footage through to animation, and from no text to a small amount of text to using a hashtag. So I thought I'll just run through a few examples to inspire you, let's say, to make your own cover video. This first one is a good example. This is from the University of Michigan. And this is a good example of how you can, I guess they're creating the feeling of the university, but there's no text, there's no call to action, there's nothing to really clutter it. It's just gives you the feeling that you're on campus basically through footage.
Yeah, there's a lot of great panning shots there. I mean, obviously the University of Michigan is going to have a pretty decent budget. And we can see we're back to the start already. But they've got a decent budget. You know, obviously they've sped up the clouds and all the right things are there. But it's not actually saying anything verbally. It's not saying anything in text. It's just making you, you know, you're either an existing student, so you're loving the campus, you're an ex-student, you're remembering it, or, you know, you're a potential student, in which case you're looking at, yeah, it seems like a great place to go with an amazingly big stadium, I see.
It does look pretty big, doesn't it? And the 1953. But I think also something to keep in mind is that you can quite easily recreate something like this for yourself with stock footage. So if you've got professional stock footage and you've got a couple of minutes to edit it, then you can easily recreate these kind of results. It's really just a question, I guess, of what you want to communicate and what your brand is, or your product is, or your campaign is that you're pushing at that particular time.
Yeah, and you can almost guarantee that this wasn't shot in the right Facebook frame. Like, it would have been shot on a normal full frame camera. So, you know, even University of Michigan is almost certainly using a different video crop down here.
For sure. I'll move on. I'll give you another example now of just video without text. This is Audi USA. This is a nice little stop motion piece, and essentially it's all about the car. The people are moving around it, but you're very focused on that Audi. And I think this also shows nicely how you can get your video to loop. It appears to go forever, but I think it's about a 20-second loop.
I was going to say, what they've done well here is they've actually only uploaded like a 5-second video, and I'd say they've stitched it 4 times to make the 20-second minimum, and then that 20 seconds. So you've got a loop within a loop here. So that guy on the scooter on the right who stops, he appears every sort of 3 or 4 seconds. So unless he's got nothing better to do in his day, let's assume that Audi here had to actually loop their video. So it's total speculation here, but this is probably the kind of video that was done for like a 5-second Instagram short or a 10-second, in-stream Facebook video. And then they've realized, if I just stitch a couple of these together back to back, it'll be a Facebook cover video. So I think even Audi is just making money.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, it's a good example of how to make things for social as well. It's less about the story for this particular video anyway, and more just about drawing focus and creating movement to catch the eye.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is, or the clever thing about it is that by virtue of the fact that the car's still, that's almost like a still image. So they're getting all the benefits of still and static whilst using the video to get your attention. So yeah, I think, well, you would expect Audi would do a good job of this. I'm sure they paid a small fortune to an agency to produce it, but whether they got a good value or not, I don't know.
I don't know. You can do it yourself at home as well, thankfully. I have another example from Audi as well, and this is from a different Facebook page of theirs called Audi Sport. So this is all their high-performance cars. And what they've done here is they've got a little montage, I guess, that shows Patrick Langer. So they're basically comparing their car to an athlete and the performance that he's achieved. But it's a nice little video for this location because it really shows you more than just the car. It takes you deeper into the brand and probably deeper into a recent campaign. But they've managed to keep the text very short and succinct, and it doesn't really matter where you come in or where you leave. You'll still be left with a similar impression.
Yeah, and I think it starts to hint at that idea that you said before, where you could incorporate stock footage around your video. So you could be doing these cutaways to stock footage and then back to your brand or your product, and getting those parallels. So yeah, I guess that's the benefit of using, well, we would say with Biteable, you get that big stock video library you're able to access.
Yeah, you can definitely access footage of this kind of quality. I'll move on. And here's another university one. This is an Australian university, Deakin University. I think this is a good example of a video. You could either use footage or animation, but it has a very strong message, which is front and center. And then as the video, it's kind of like the Audi parked in the center, actually. As the video loops, you're still left with the same static message in the center. And then the background is really just to catch your eye and to inspire you to go further on their page.
Yeah, I know we're going to cover this later, but there's a bunch of great Biteable templates that create not that exact effect, but very similar kinds of effects. So all of a sudden you can, that's the idea, right? When you look at it, it is in its simplest form. That's just a really cool graphic with a text overlay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a moving photo, essentially.
Yeah. So it'll be good to, there'll be templates later on in the show that you show us. I'm sure we'll get something a similar kind of effect anyway.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a template that we just put it up yesterday, actually, which essentially has a best hits of the scenes that we would recommend for a Facebook cover video. So we'll have a look at how to find that later on and how to pick out the one that you want to use.
Fantastic.
For now, I'll go on to another little example. I've got lots of examples in my browser today. This is for an Australian organisation called LinkedIn Local Sunshine Coast. They're one of a series of Facebook pages, and they all use the same cover video. This cover video coincidentally was made with Biteable, so it gives you a bit of an idea of the kind of thing that you can make with stock footage. I quite like their approach in that they've just put a series of hashtags over the top. So then it kind of tells you how you can engage, how you can find other people, how you can find other things about the brand, but at the same time it has a strong message about what they're about and where they're about. So it's quite a simple, clean, but effective approach, I think.
Yeah, and obviously we're across it. I think most people would recognise things like the Sydney Harbour Bridge, but obviously each of the images they've tried to, as close as possible, recreate the city that they're talking about in the hashtag. So there's, they've put the effort in to make it work. Yeah,
definitely. That's a nice one. And then let's see, what have we got up next? So moving on to animation. This is a little video of a company called Tonic. I believe you may have even worked with this brand before, Jared.
I know these guys very well. So great brand doing prescription medication delivery. I think it's like the people in the US listeners would be, or viewers would be, I think PillPack is a very similar kind of company. So it's that same kind of service.
Yeah. And there's, I guess it's very simple and it's very clean, their animation at the top of the page. But in a sense, it's a very simple explainer that takes you through the service they offer and explains to you, if you use Tonic, what you're going to get, which is your medications delivered quickly, easily, and cost effectively at home, by the looks of it.
I think you've nominated yourself for a voiceover job there, Paul. You've got it all worked out.
Okay, here's another one. So this is Noosa Business Connect. This one is a really good example of how you can use your cover video space for social proof. So they've just got a series of testimonials, and it quickly and easily communicates that they're a reliable brand and that there are others using them, and that they're worth using yourself. The logo at the end.
Yeah, nice and simple. There's not too much in it, but it works.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very simple, and it's the kind of thing that you can achieve with Biteable as well. Text over video is very fast and easy to make. So that's pretty much all the examples that I wanted to run through to start with. Maybe a nice thing to do now would be to have a look at the template you mentioned on Biteable.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I think if we can get as close as we can to replicating some of these great ideas in the actual in the Biteable app, that'd be amazing.
So I'm starting to ask the questions now. You're doing the answering. Okay, so I think you can still see my screen.
Yep.
Now I'm on the Biteable website, which I think will be quite familiar. I think I've shrunk my screen enough that I've got the mobile view. So basically, there's two ways to find the templates on the Bitable's website. One is to head on down to templates from the homepage. If you're on desktop, you'll normally see that along the top of the page, and then you can find a template based on all kinds of categories. We're interested in this one, Facebook cover, but I thought I'd show you actually how you find the templates from within your Biteable account as well, because not everybody seems to know how to find them. It's a little bit hidden. So I've logged in, and then up here in the corner I can find myself, and then one of the options up here is templates. So if I hit that, that'll take me to the templates again. And that's the quickest way to get from essentially within the video editor through to find the templates.
I must say that's not a shortcut that I knew about. So
I think it's one we need to make a little more obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're interested in this Facebook cover video. We can hit play and we can preview and watch our cover video. Sorry, Jared, I'm just going to turn off my audio. So you can watch through and you can have a look and see if any of these video scenes or animations are what you're looking for your cover video. There's a lot of different options in there.
Yep.
We're going to assume that there is something in there that we want. So then you just need to hit edit this video. That'll take us back into the editor view within Biteable. And then, hey, look, we're going to go live. Get rid of that. And then down here we can see, so these are all the different scenes that make up that template. And if you have a look through, there's some great little animations. I think it's a bit hard to see, though, the way my screen's set up. Here you go. There's some great little animations, very easy way to add color and personality to your cover video. There's also a series of actual videos like you saw before. Everybody wants to be on the beach.
Yeah.
And then there's also other ones where you can upload your own images. This is an example of a scene. You can put a little bit of text there, but then you can also upload an image and give it a really stylized effect. There's quite a lot of those within Biteable as well. And then others where you can upload your own footage, or ones like this where you can actually put your text within a moving video. But if you're wanting to use this template and you find something in there that you like, then you can just pick one out, select it, remove the others, or you can just remember which one it is and create a new video and then just choose that one yourself.
Yeah, I think what's great about that is that you feel like you've got all the options laid out in front of you, and it's super easy to come back.
Stop sharing my screen there. Sorry, Jared.
That's right, and it's easy then to start deleting those the ones that you don't want. But I always find it's easier. What is it, Michelangelo, whoever it was, is kind of like, when you carve David, it was just a case of chop away everything that isn't the statue. So it's the same thing in Biteable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I think nearly all the content that you'll find in Biteable you can use for a cover video. Just while you're creating it, bear in mind you'll lose a bit at the top, you'll lose a bit at the bottom, and you want to keep your text relatively simple.
Fantastic. I was just going to say, so we did get Pauline did come in and dropped the link for her Facebook cover video in. So we'll, because I saw Pauline racing off before and trying to get back into chat to make it work. So I think we will at the end, Pauline, Paul will bring that up and we'll have a quick look and show everyone yours and make that part of our Biteable in the wild. So thank you so much for racing off and getting that for us. So that's one of the last comments there, Paul. I don't know if you've got that on your screen?
I don't, but if you're able to tell me which Facebook page that is, then I reckon I can find it pretty quick.
Yeah, so facebook.com/ASKCTCS/.
Oh, no. These are the dangers of going live. I wasn't listening well enough. Can you say it again?
So it's ASK.
ASK?
CTCS.
CTCS.
Charlie Tango Charlie Sierra.
Very nicely done, Jared. Were you in the army once?
My dad was in the Air Force, but it's got nothing to do with it. I think I learned that from a television program that you probably remember called was it Flying Doctors in Australia? Anyway.
Yes.
Very few people know it. But I don't know, it was Charlie Foxtrot Tango or something. Anyway, someone will know. Someone from Australia who watched that show who's somewhere between around the age of 40 can probably post that in the comments after the video is live and tell me actually what the Flying Doctors call sign was.
Yes, that's a test of memory. Hey, I've found her page. Shall I share that with you now, Jared?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'll just find the right button over here on my side. Okay, let me share that with you now.
Could be a lot worse. You could have started the whole show on mute.
Almost did. So I think we're looking at the right page, customized training.
Yep.
And I recognize some of this stock footage. So this is definitely made with Biteable. So I'm just having a look now. So it looks to me like customized training might just offer customized training. It looks like an education organization.
Yeah.
And their cover video is basically telling me the courses they offer.
And it's quite good. Like it's, great stock footage selection. You can see the real, the link there between the courses and the kids. You get that. And they're obviously looking to really get they've got the broad, diverse range of target students as well, just based off the videos. So maybe that's not, but that's one of the takeaways.
Yeah, I think it's also good that they've gone with video instead of anything that could be a bit drier. I mean, it gives you a very lifestyle feel, let's say, and it inspires you to go and study. It shows you what you'll achieve as a person more so than showing you a picture of a book or someone actually going through the process of being trained. So I'd say nice job, Pauline. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think there was one screen maybe where the letterbox view might have chopped off on the logo screen, might have just chopped off the bottom there.
Yes.
But that's like we said at the start, that's one of those things you just got to work with. So I guess your option there is either to permanently chop it off or try to incorporate a different template.
Yeah, exactly. There's different there's many other scenes that will fit within the Facebook specs.
And having worked in this area a little bit before, Pauline, I know the pain of having to include like RTO codes and all the course codes in all your advertising. That's like the Australian disclaimer that has to run all the time. So it says that you're, authorized, which is frustrating because it's using up so much of your text space there to put in what appears to be fairly random characters and numbers. So for what it's worth, I feel your pain. It's like at the end of every ad where they read out the disclaimers super fast at the end of a radio voiceover.
Yes. Thanks for the explanation as well for me.
Yeah. It's brilliant. Well, that's actually a nice early Biteable in the wild. So we've only got a few minutes left, so maybe we'll take the chance to look at a few more Biteables in the wild. Do we have any other ones, Paul, or are they?
Yeah, I have a couple more queued up here. I'll start with this one. So this one's in Spanish. I'm assuming my Spanish ain't no good. And this one is from a music school. This is also made with Biteable, obviously. And they're inspiring you to come and learn an instrument or play an instrument with them. This one also has audio, actually. I must admit it's pretty good with audio, but I think without audio, you still get the message. And if you speak Spanish, then you'll actually be able to read it as well.
Yeah. Sorry. I am terrible. I have a limited grip on the English language, so I can't even pretend to be bilingual.
But this is a nice video, and I think I'm assuming what they've used is stock, and it's all it's like bright, colorful. It's moving, it's engaging. I want to be like this guy with the glasses. Yeah. They did a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm not sure if it is stock. It's hard to tell, isn't it? It might be something else, but anyway, whatever the case, it looks great.
Good stock, you can't tell.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? If you put a little bit of effort into it, you use some good quality stock footage. We're sitting here and going, maybe it's stock footage, maybe it's a combination of the two. The whole point. If you do a good job, it's not that hard to get to a stage where people just don't know how you've done it. And I guess that's part of the goal with Biteable, is to produce videos of sufficient quality that you're not thinking about the quality. All you're doing is looking at it, getting the message, and just going, that's good production. You don't notice, good quality and a polished finished product. You're more likely to notice it if it's wrong or it's bad. So this is a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think your production should be invisible.
It's Portuguese, says Sandra. So thank you, Sandra. You jumped in there and not corrected us. You've done very well.
I think she schooled us. It's very handy. Thank you.
And for double points, if you know what the Flying Doctor's call sign was, you win a free hat. No, I haven't got a free hat to give away.
So who knows? Maybe we'll get an answer. I'll show you another one. So this is for an Australian also education organisation named Sofiri. And they've got a very simple little one. It's just a nice animation that holds their logo, basically animates their logo, brings it to life. And it really sort of drives home, I guess, who owns this page, what this page is about. And it gives you a little bit of a feeling of the personality of Sofiri as well. For those who use Biteable regularly, you'll recognize this as actually from one of our scene sets. So you can very easily replicate this one for yourself.
Yeah, like you said, there's not much going on. I think actually what they've got used well is the looping works really well here. It's just there's enough movement happening in the video that it doesn't feel too repetitive, and then you realize actually that's the fourth or fifth time I've seen them say study in Australia or study in New Zealand. So again, it's that ability for Biteable to put a logo on what's a nice looking animation all of a sudden just makes the whole thing look like a polished, quite expensive piece of production. So
yeah, it's really seamless, this one.
No, it's really good. Brilliant.
So that's my last example of Biteable in the wild. There's a lot more of these out there, I got to say. We found a lot today when we were searching. So Yeah, if you need more inspiration, hit us up. We can post a few more in the comments. Otherwise, I'd say get into the app and have a dig around and see what kind of great stuff you can make.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for that, Paul. Well, we might jump back and we'll bring our beautiful heads up to full size again.
Yes, let me stop sharing my screen. I did forget. There we go.
Brilliant. We're back. So thanks so much for that, Paul. I think the main thing with Facebook is it's not permanent. So, you can always upload a video, let it run for a couple of days. And if you change your mind and decide, I don't like it anymore, well, look, it's 10 minutes in Biteable, add a new video, upload it and try again. I think it's one of those ones where, trial and error goes a long way. You don't have to get it perfect every time. But it's just one of those things you can do, particularly, I think, across platforms, so brand consistency between your web and your offline and your social presences is so important. And so being able to get a little bit more control over that Facebook page so it doesn't look like it's sort of a stock standard Facebook template is just a sensible thing to do for your business.
Yeah, I think also I learned a nifty new little saying from Ken, who was on the Facebook Live last week. And he used the term with me, creative fatigue. And I guess basically it's true of anything, anywhere for a business. You need to refresh at a actually with social a relatively high rate, because if people are seeing the same thing more than once, then they'll in a sense stop seeing it. So to avoid fatigue, then you want to refresh regularly.
Fantastic. Well, brilliant, Paul. So I think we'll wrap up the show there. Just going to say thank you to everyone who joined. Also to everyone who will watch this video after the show. Please feel free to drop comments into the comment field afterwards. We still monitor that. We still have a look at that. It also helps us if you subscribe to the show. So if you hit the little bell icon up in the top, it's one of those two corners. That'll remind you each week as we go live. We do mix up the time, so it doesn't always work out. But the way we view it is when we go live, if you're online, jump in, have a chat, learn something new at Biteable. As long as you keep tuning in, we'll keep making shows and hopefully teaching you something each week. But thanks for the shout out, Joe. Appreciate it. I think we did a good job. Other than the start, Paul did a fantastic job all the way through. I was pretty good after I turned my microphone on. So appreciate that, Joe. But that's us for another week. Next week we have got the plan is to bring an outside guest in, an outside expert, to start talking a bit more about predictions of social media into next year. So definitely tune into that one. It's one not to be missed. I think there'll be some real golden nuggets of social media marketing advice coming your way. So that's it from me. Thanks so much for joining me, Paul.
Thank you very much. Look forward to next week's show.
See you next week. Cheers.
Bye.